In this session, we will look at the horizontal alignment generator. Our objectives here are to show you how to access the horizontal alignment tools, how to create and store horizontal chains using microstation elements, and review other tools available with the horizontal alignment generator. Now, the horizontal alignment generator will enable the user to create and modify horizontal geometry using tools including placing spirals, curves, tapers, specified bearings and curves, complex ramps, loops, and connectors, and all user-defined parameters. So let's go into a microstation file and look at the horizontal alignment generator. Now, first of all, to access the horizontal alignment generator, we're going to go through Project Manager. So I'm going to open Project Manager, open our Project Manager box, and right below Coordinate Geometry, we have Horizontal Alignment. Once we select Horizontal Alignment, I'm going to move this out of the way, you'll notice that it automatically opens the Kogo tool, Coordinate Geometry box. And we're going to look at, first of all, under File, we're going to look at the Preferences. So we'll open the Preference box. The first item in the Preference box is Element Symbology. This will allow us to go in, once we toggle these on, it will allow us to go in and set a particular symbology for lines, curves, spirals, and construction lines. In this case, we're going to double click in this area. It will bring up the set feature box. We're going to set the line to be red, the curve to be yellow. We can set the spirals to be orange, and we're going to change this to be white, our construction line. We also have the ability to set the label scale, as well as set these to be placed as a graphic group or no group at all. The next selection we have here is Kogo element names. If we want these points, lines, curves, and spirals stored in Kogo or stored in the GPK file, we have to have this toggled on so that it will save it as a Kogo element. Then we have a naming convention. We can put in P1 for point. All subsequent points will be P2, P3, P4, and so on. Same thing with lines, curves, and spirals. Then we have curve design tables. Now, these particular curve design tables, the ones you're looking at that are here, if we go to the select button, this particular one is for symmetrical three-centered curves. If I go and say select, it takes us to the bin directory, the Geopak bin directory. And these are the default curve and spiral tables that are delivered with Geopak. These can be modified for your own use, but these are the ones that are delivered with the product. In this case, this three-centered symmetrical, we got three-centered asymmetrical, symmetrical. We have spiral curve information, taper curve information, turning path tables. So to select the one you want, you simply go over and go to the select. It takes you to that location. You select it and it puts it in the box. And once again, we have one for symmetrical, asymmetrical, symmetrical tapered curves, asymmetrical tapered curves. We also have a file for spiral curves. We have one also for turning paths, as well as the ability to go in and set a turning path display settings. In other words, the vehicle symbol labels, the vehicle design vehicle boundaries. If we double click on this, we get the design vehicle boundary. We can set that by level, color, style, and weight. Then turning a vehicle symbol labels, turning radius labels, and turning angle labels, and then the stroke deltas. We have PPI Alignment display settings, and this is simply you can highlight the components, window center, the particular element that you're on. and go in and set the symbology for that also. The PI, this is for PI alignment display. This is for PI alignment design. This is the super elevation preference directory. It also takes us to this bin directory for the SEP file, the super elevation preferences. In this case, it allows us to go in and choose what preference selection we want, the E selection, the max super, and then the nominal crown and the design speed. And we can do a station method to preserve PI station, restation from 0, or restation from beginning station. The parameter formats, in other words, whenever we open dialog boxes, do we want to see everything in radius, degree of arc, or degree of chord? Do we want to use bearings or azimuths? Are our coordinates put in northing, easting, or XY? Our distances, do we want that in a tangent section or a point one, a P, point to point, place to place? Spiral parameters can be length or A. And then our dynamic increments are just our tolerances for radius, offset, length, so forth. Once we have these, then all we have to do is close that box. If we want to look at our design tables, we can go into design tables. We talked about these. We're going to symmetrical. Once we have all this information in, we can look at the information involved here. We have all these formulas. As we change the deflection angles in here, we'll see that the values change for the different vehicles. And the same is true for all of the available design tables. Now under tools, we have the main toolbar, which we pull this out, and we have the main alignment tools. We have the ability also to pull these out individually. We do that two ways. We can come in here and say lines, curves, and it gives us a lines, curve dialog box. Or we can simply come over to the main box and pull this out and go to open toolbox, and it will give us our toolbox. And we're going to open these up and look at all the tools within the toolboxes. We'll pull all these down and look at these individually and the various tools that we have available in this product. All right. Now the first one is our lines, curves, which is simply store line by 2 points. Once again, as we store this line, if we want to store a line, we hit a data point here, data point here. We've actually added now 3 elements to our GPK file. We've added 2 points, which you can see we have P2 here, and we have P1 on the other end. Our P3. We've also added this line. So as well as the 2 endpoints, we've added a L1 for the line. We can also store tangent lines. We can store curves by 3 points, curves by center. We have the ability to store tangent curves unconstrained, a simple curve, place a simple curve, or we can do a transition between 2 curves. Once again, anytime this information, we use any of these tools to place simple curves, this information is stored in the GPK file as a Kogo element if that toggle was selected in the preference file. Okay. We also have the ability, we have curve combinations. We can store turning paths, place a turning path. We have the ability to look at different vehicles. This one's trucks. We can use passenger cars. buses, recreational vehicles. With the design, with the vehicle class chosen, we have the design vehicles. We can choose whichever design vehicle we want. We can put in a turning radius, a deflection angle. We can do a runoff distance. We can do dynamic approach adjustment. We can do a left turn or a right turn. We can also put in a clearance, inside distance and outside distance, and then the path symbology we can change here. Simply by double clicking that, it gets us a set feature box, and we can change that and accept it. And then put in the vehicle reference path display settings. Now if you'll notice in the bottom right hand corner it says identify first element. It will prompt you through what it wants you to do in order to place this turning path template. We also have the ability to go in and place compound curves. This once again will ask you to identify the first element. You place the information in here as far as the entry and exit radiuses, any offsets that are associated with this, loop exterior construction. Place this information in here and select the elements that they are associated with. We can come in and place 3-centered curves, tapered curves, or actually reverse curves. We also have multiple spiral combinations. We can place spiral curve tangents to lines, tangents to a curve, tangents to a curve, spiral curve, tangent to a curve, intersecting elements, a spiral with intersecting elements, disjointed curves, and also disjointed curves for spiral curve spirals. We can do some complex ramps also. We can place complex ramp, complex connector, and also spiral curves. And all of these, depending on which one of these boxes or these tools that we choose, will all have specific information that it needs, as well as prompts in the bottom left hand corner as to what it needs next. So once this information is filled in, you'll notice it says identify a loop circular curve. So we'll give you the ability to go in and place information in here and then prompt you for what it wants next. Alignment tools. We have place dynamic alignment, and we're going to delete this information here. Place dynamic alignment, the tangent length, the entry spiral, exit radius. Once again, identify initial tangent element. We can also place PI alignment. By accept PI alignment, we've already got an alignment stored in our GPK file. If I go in and select that particular alignment, which is main line, I can load that information into our chain table. You'll notice that once I do that, it brings up the alignment and shows me the radiuses that are associated and tangents associated with that alignment. I can go in and change the radius anytime. I can dynamically change the radius. I've got multiple tools associated with the PI alignment. I can save a chain once it's modified. I can load graphic elements to the table. If I have graphic elements on the screen that I want to load, I can export to DGN elements. I can insert PI points or delete PI points in this alignment. I can clear the alignment table, which takes all of this information out. I can modify elements or move elements. I can modify curve radiuses. And I can check the alignment for validity. So all of this can be done on the fly. I can also come in and do store chain, based on this particular, give it a chain name. You'll notice that the chain is based on the default parameters that we chose. This is chain 1. The station I can put as whatever I want. I can create or transpose, and then the max gap is simply a microstation tolerance. And then I would identify elements on the screen, and it would select those elements, connect them together, and store that as a particular chain using simply microstation elements, or elements placed with these tools. Now, one of the things that we have to look at here is that once we've placed these elements are now Kogo elements. Therefore, they're stored in the GPK file. We have a manipulation tool which says move plan view elements. We can rotate plan view elements. We can extend plan view elements or delete plan view elements. If we want to use any of these tools, we must go back to our coordinate geometry box and make sure that redefine is turned on. It's the only way that it will allow us to go in and modify these existing Kogo elements. So what we've done here is shown you all of these tools that we have available for not only placing elements, placing lines and curves, but also some complex information or complex tools for placing turning paths, for placing curve combinations, spiral combinations, complex ramp combinations, alignment tools, and how to manipulate those once they are done. So that will conclude our lesson on horizontal alignment generator.